Have you ever wondered if your love for your children might actually harm them? In this video, we'll explore 7 things you should never give your kids, based on timeless Buddhist wisdom. These lessons will transform how you view parenting and guide your children toward a path of true happiness and enlightenment. Let us begin with the first thing you should never give your children: unlimited money. Money is an illusion, a tool that can provide temporary comfort, but often clouds the mind with desires. In Buddhist teachings, attachment to material possessions leads to suffering, a concept known as tanha or craving. By giving your children unlimited money, you inadvertently create a false sense of security. They may believe that money can solve all their problems, but this illusion only feeds their greed and prevents them from understanding the impermanence of material wealth. Imagine handing a child a bag of gold every time they ask for it. At first, they might rejoice, thinking their needs are met forever. But soon, they lose interest in the gold's value and begin to expect it as their right. This expectation becomes a dependency, stripping away their motivation to earn or create. They lose the joy of working hard and achieving something through their own effort. Instead, teach your children the Buddhist principle of right livelihood. Help them see money as a means, not an end. Encourage them to appreciate simplicity and gratitude. A simple lesson in financial responsibility, like budgeting their allowance or saving for something they desire, can be more impactful than any amount of wealth you could give. Through this, they learn to be content with what they have, a teaching that aligns with the Dhammapada, where the Buddha says contentment is the highest wealth. Now, let's move to the second thing to avoid: properties without purpose. A house, a piece of land, or any other property might seem like a generous gift. However, if your children are not prepared for the responsibilities that come with ownership, this gift could turn into a burden. The Buddha often spoke of the dangers of attachment, reminding us that possessions can possess us if we are not careful. Think of a house as a metaphorical boulder. If given to someone unprepared, they may struggle to carry its weight. Taxes, maintenance, repairs. These unseen costs can transform a dream into a source of stress. Worse, disputes among family members over inherited properties can sow discord, as each person's desires clash with the others. To avoid this, involve your children in the process of decision-making. If you're considering giving them a property, ask, how would you like to use this? Are you ready for the responsibilities it entails? Guide them to see the property not as a symbol of wealth, but as a tool for growth, whether it's for building a home, generating income, or fostering harmony. By doing this, you cultivate their awareness and wisdom, which are far greater gifts than the property itself. Next, let us discuss the third point: solving all their problems for them. There is a well-known Buddhist parable about a silkworm struggling to escape its cocoon. An observer, feeling pity, cuts the cocoon open to help. But without the struggle, the silkworm's wings remain undeveloped, and it cannot fly. The same principle applies to your children. Every challenge they face is an opportunity for growth, a step toward building their inner strength. Yet as parents, the instinct to protect and rescue is strong. It's natural to want to shield them from pain, but in doing so, you rob them of the resilience they need to navigate life's difficulties. Buddhism emphasizes the middle way, a balance between support and independence. Instead of solving their problems, guide them to find their own solutions. Ask open-ended questions. What do you think you can do to resolve this? How would you approach this challenge? By empowering them to think critically, you foster their confidence and self-reliance. Remember, your role is not to remove obstacles from their path, but to help them build the strength to overcome those obstacles themselves. The fourth thing to avoid is giving unsolicited advice. In Buddhism, the practice of right speech is central to harmonious relationships. Offering advice when it is not sought can feel like a criticism rather than a gesture of love. It implies that you do not trust your children's ability to make their own decisions, which can create distance rather than closeness. Consider how your words might be received. Imagine a parent constantly saying, "You should do this," or "Don't do that." Over time, such advice can feel like a heavy chain, restricting freedom and autonomy. Your children may begin to pull away, avoiding conversations where they fear judgment. Instead, practice mindful listening. When your children share their thoughts or struggles, resist the urge to jump in with solutions. Instead, ask, "How do you feel about this?" Or "What do you think would be best?" This approach not only respects their autonomy, but also encourages them to seek your guidance when they truly need it. Remember, advice given in the right moment, with the right intention, is far more impactful than a flood of unsolicited words. Now let's talk about comparisons, the fifth thing to avoid. The Buddha taught that comparing oneself to others is a source of suffering. This principle applies to parenting as well. When you compare your children to their siblings or peers, you unintentionally plant seeds of inadequacy and resentment. Imagine saying to one child, "Why can't you be more like your sister?" Though you may intend to inspire improvement, the underlying message they hear is, "You're not good enough." Over time, these comparisons can erode their self-esteem and strain their relationships with their siblings. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to honor the unique nature of every individual. Each child is like a lotus flower, blooming in their own time and way. Instead of comparing, celebrate their individuality. Focus on their strengths and express gratitude for their unique qualities. This creates an environment of love and acceptance, where each child feels valued for who they are. The sixth point is perhaps the most challenging: unrealistic expectations. As parents, it's natural to dream big for your children. You want them to succeed, to achieve greatness. But when these expectations become rigid and overwhelming, they transform into a burden. Buddhism teaches us the importance of letting go of attachment to outcomes. Your children's journey is their own, not yours to dictate. By imposing your dreams onto them, you risk stifling their true passions and creating anxiety. Instead, focus on guiding them to discover their own path. Ask them, what brings you joy? What makes you feel alive? Encourage them to pursue their interests, even if they differ from your own. By doing so, you allow them to grow authentically, grounded in their own sense of purpose rather than the weight of your expectations. Finally, we come to the seventh thing: boundless generosity without limits. Generosity is a virtue, but even virtues must be practiced with wisdom. The Buddha taught the concept of dana, or giving, which must be done mindfully. Giving too much, too often, without setting boundaries, can lead to entitlement and dependency. Imagine always saying yes to every request your children make. Over time, they may come to expect your support as a given, taking it for granted. Worse, they may struggle to stand on their own, relying on you long after they should have become independent. To practice mindful generosity, establish clear boundaries. Teach your children the value of effort and the satisfaction that comes from achieving something on their own. When you do give, do so with intention and balance, ensuring that your support empowers rather than enables.